quarter of the year, marking the fourth consecutive rise in economic activity. This follows a revised increase of 0.9% in the second quarter. The GDP reading released by Stats SA today is in line with market expectations. The Stats agency says 9 of the 10 industries on the production side were stronger in the third quarter, with mining, agriculture, forestry and fishing, as well as trade, recording the highest growth rates. Deputy Director General of Economic Statistics at Stats SA, Joe De Beer.
Over the longer term, we value the real GDP or the volume-based GDP at 1.187 billion. That's at the constant 2015 prices, and you can compare that to the levels that we had pre-COVID and during COVID. Looking at our time series, this is now the fourth consecutive quarter of economic expansion, 0.5, and that follows on the 0.9 that was revised from the 0.8.
Johannesburg Mayor Dada Morero has breathed a sigh of relief after the motion of no confidence against him was withdrawn. The motion, originally filed by the Al Jamaah Party and seconded by minority parties UDM and ATM, was meant to be heard in council today. Although these smaller parties form part of the ANC-led coalition, they said they'd lost confidence in the mayor. But they've now opted to address their issues with Morero outside of the council chambers. Alpha Ramushana has the details.
Last night, the ANC-led coalition in Johannesburg met to discuss, among other matters, the motion of no confidence against Mayor Dada Morero. At the meeting, the minority parties agreed to withdraw the motion and instead set up a round-table discussion to address their grievances with the mayor. The motion was raised by parties within the coalition who say their discontent is not with the ANC itself but with its leader in the city. UDM councillor Yongama Zikebe outlines why they chose to pull the motion at the last minute.
So those are some of the things that other partners raised to say, yes, we feel your pinch, we feel your pain, but at the same time, let us have a way instead of a motion that we can find going forward.
It's the second vote of no confidence in the mayor this year. 6 months ago, Morero survived one sponsored by the Democratic Alliance. Alpha Ramshwana, Eyewitness News, Johannesburg.
We move to the capital, where former Ekurhuleni city manager Imogen Mashazi believes she's been prejudiced during her testimony before the Madlanga Commission of Inquiry. Mashazi began her testimony yesterday and resumed this morning at the Commission in Pretoria. She has faced tough questions which, in most instances, she hasn't been able to answer adequately to satisfy the commissioners and evidence leader. Mashazi has been given until next week Wednesday to source the relevant documents and evidence which her attorneys will provide to the Commission in the form of a supplementary affidavit. Earlier, Mashazi's attorney, Mr. Musa, addressed the Commission on instructions of possible prejudice.
It's under instruction that she's referred to me, and I've got a duty to place it before the Commission, is that over the last day or so, I was in a position where I had to face certain questions and answer to certain allegations without having all the information at my disposal.
Musa says Mashazi is concerned about her public image following her testimony.
She says, what about the perception that has been created of me as a public figure over the last day? And I said to her, that is unfortunately something we can't do. We can't turn back the clock, but what we can do is use the next 3 to 4 days and optimize the opportunity to do a detailed supplementary statement annexing anything that is important, as was illustrated over the last 2 days.
We move to the courts, where the Johannesburg High Court has found 2 of the 3 apartheid police officers charged with the murder of student leader Caiphus Nyoka guilty of the crime. Major Leon van der Berg and Sergeants Abraham Engelbrecht and Pieter Stander have been standing trial for the 1987 murder. But the court has acquitted van den Berg, a finding that the state failed to prove its case against him beyond reasonable doubt. Nyoka was murdered in his Daveyton home in 1987. Modise was in court.
As Judge Mohammed Ismail handed down a detailed judgment, the accused sat closely next to each other, while Sergeants Abraham Engelbrecht and Pieter Stanner regularly hung their heads. Ismail acquitted Major Leon van den Berg, who the state accused of ordering the raid.
The prosecution failed to establish or prove beyond reasonable doubt that accused number 1 associated himself with the actions of Mr. Mare, accused 2 and accused number 3 to kill the deceased.
But the court has found that Engelbrecht and Stanner were behind the brutal murder of 23-year-old Nyoka.
On the accepted evidence, the court finds that the assailants entered Mr. Nyoka's room not to effect an arrest, but to assassinate him.
Well, according to the law, the bail of both men must expire now that they've been convicted. They've brought a new bail application, which the court must now consider. Khomotso Modise, Eyewitness News at the Johannesburg High Court.
We move to South Asia, where the death toll from the Sri Lankan floods has risen to 410. The Disaster Management Centre says 336 people remain missing following a week of the heavy rains and landslides triggered by Cyclone Ditwa. According to reports, over 1.5 million people were affected by what is considered to be the worst natural disaster to hit the country since the Indian Ocean tsunami of 2004. Scientists have warned that climate change is producing more intense rain because a warmer atmosphere holds more moisture and warmer oceans can turbocharge systems. Gold's trading at $4,185.65 an ounce. The rand's at 17.13 to the dollar, at 22.60 to the pound, at 19.88 to the euro. Brent crude oil's at $63.13 a barrel.
Heading in and out of the Joburg CBD at this hour, you can expect about a 20-minute delay in Amalgam on Main Reef Road between Anderson and Nazareth Street. We still have those roadworks slowing down traffic in the Calvin Alex area. This is on the N3 in both directions between London Road and the Putlu interchange.
A look at your weather. It's a partly cloudy afternoon in Gauteng today, with afternoon showers and thunder showers expected. Temperatures have peaked at highs between 25 and 27 degrees. The top story in Eyewitness News this hour: the country's economy expanded by 0.5% in the third quarter of the year, marking the fourth consecutive rise in economic activity.
EWN, in touch, in tune and independent. For the latest, visit ewn.co.za or download the EWN app.
You're with Relebogile Mabotja
Live, streaming countrywide
on the Prime Media Plus app.
DSTV channel 856,
92.7
and 106 FM.
Minutes after 1 o'clock, welcome to 7:02 Afternoons with me, Relebogile Mabotja, on this Tuesday, the 2nd of December. And we're going to be chatting something quite interesting and could maybe get a little bit sensitive, but I hope you're open for the conversation. I want to find out from all of you, if you left your religion or cultural belief system, whether it be Christianity or whatever the case may be, or if you decided you no longer believe in God and maybe have become an atheist or agnostic, what made you reach that point? I would absolutely love to find out from all of you what made you reach that point that you decided, I want to leave God or believing in God, or leave Christianity or African spirituality or Buddhism, whatever it is that you believe in. What was the reason? Our tech feature for today, we're going to be speaking about using smart tech to tackle South Africa's growing water crisis. A big conversation. Will be joined by Rodney Louis, founder and CEO of JR Prodigy Venture, for that conversation. And then the second hour of the show for the month of December, we are opening up a brand new series. And in our series for this month, we'll be talking about the neuroscience of change and rewiring your life for 2026. I'm looking forward to this. Our very first episode will be talking about the brain and change and why change can feel so hard. And we will be joined by one of our own, Liesel van der Westhuizen, who also happens to be a certified neuroscience coach, for that conversation. Make sure you get your questions in early. And we wrap up with our car feature, and we'll be chatting technical car issues with Nicole, and we'll be discussing the electric bakkie and the future of it in South Africa. I would really like to hear from all of you on that, and of course your technical car issues which you can already get yourselves in the queue. 011 883 0702, SMS us 31702, tweet at Relebogile M, at Radio 702 using the hashtag 702 afternoons, and the WhatsApp line 072 702 1702.
702 Afternoons
With Relebogile Mabotja.
on 702.
Let's walk the talk.
I'm about to start this conversation with a deep sigh, because the moment we posted the topic on Facebook, I'm seeing some very interesting responses from individuals. But let me tell you what is at the heart of this conversation. If you believed in something bigger than yourself, be it a religion, a belief system, spirituality, but then you decided to change your mind and no longer believe in that thing, it doesn't necessarily mean you stop believing in God, but that could be one of the examples. Maybe you switched from being Christian to being to becoming a Muslim, let's say. It could be that. But what was the reason that you chose to switch what you believe in, what you support, what you put your energy into? What made you decide that? It could have been the other way around. It could have been that you were agnostic and kind of didn't really believe in anything specific, and then something happened and now you decided, oh my goodness, I actually do believe in God, and I think I've found, Jesus Christ is now my Lord and Savior. It could be any of those. But I want to know from you, because I'm seeing some very interesting responses already on our social media. And you do meet people who will say, after X happened in my life, I stopped believing in God. Or after this happened in my life, I stopped practicing this specific religion or belief system. So what is it that you saw? What is it that you experienced that made you change your mind? I'm seeing some interesting. I mean, there's a person on Facebook who says, I'm trying to see, they're saying, what is this agenda that 702 and Relebogile have? Let me tell you what my agenda is some great content and good conversations. That is my agenda. There's no part of this conversation that is asking for anybody to leave what they believe in. We are a space that is open for hearing what people experience, what they enjoy, and that's something that I hold myself in high regard for, being able to be that kind of a person. But I can give some examples. There's a person who was sharing that the reason they stopped believing in certain things in the Bible is because of how some of the stories in the Bible do not seem to be the word of what Jesus Christ wanted. So while in some places it will speak of homosexuality, they will refer to stories of Jesus responding to certain things. Like I think there was the story of them wanting to kill a prostitute, or it was a group of prostitutes, and Jesus said, let he who is without sin. But he never said religion is against that specific thing. And there are people who say, after I read the Bible for myself, I realized that my pastor or priest is shishing me and not giving me detailed information. So share with us. And you might not have even grown up in a home where there was any specific practice, and then you got older, explored for yourself, and you found your practice. So I want to hear from you. 011 883 0702, the WhatsApp line 072 702 1702.
702 Afternoons
with Relebogile Mabotja.
All right, we go to the lines. Britta in Centurion, hi.
Hi, how are you?
Good, thanks, and you?
Good. I grew up in a Christian house, but not very, we didn't go to school or go to church every Sunday.
Yes.
But I changed and became a humanist. So I no longer believe in a sort of greater being beyond me. I believe in the interconnection of all human beings.
Oh, okay. Tell us more about what being a humanist is. So does that mean your focus is like what you said, community and the interconnectedness of people? Does that mean you don't believe in a higher power outside
Yes.
of yourself?
Yes, absolutely. I used to call myself an atheist, but the problem is, as an atheist, you're an atheist, but you're defining yourself by something you don't believe in.
Yes, yes.
Whereas humanism is more about defining what it is I believe in, which is the greater connection of all.
I so never thought of it that way, of what you're saying about being atheist. Because if you walk around saying, I don't believe in God, then you actually are acknowledging that God exists. You just choose to pretend like he's not there. Basically, I never thought of it. That is so brilliant. I never thought of it that way. And you now refer to yourself as a humanist. You know what, Britta? We are definitely going to discuss what being a humanist is about on our Belief Matters feature. So thank you so much for sharing. That is so interesting. How many of you can relate to what Britta said? Because some people will say, I don't fall within that and I don't fall within that. I'm not atheist. I'm not agnostic. I'm not this. But they do not have the language for what that is. Oh, Malibongwe in Midrand, hi.
Hi, Relay and listeners.
Yes.
You know, the way you are presenting this topic feeds into this narrative of a suspicious person of what is your agenda. Because now your examples are only against Christianity. How come it's possible out of all your listeners, there's not a single Jew that gave you an example that I left Judaism because of this? It's not a single Islam person who gives you an example, I left Islam. Only Christians gave you an example. It feeds into that narrative that you are up to no good. No.
So let me ask you, Malibongwe, are you saying that my examples that I'm giving, which are Christian based, it affirms the fact that I'm being biased because I'm not sharing examples of people who left Islam, Judaism, or anything else? I want to understand, is that what you are saying?
I have nothing to add to your statement. You are finished. That's it. That's it.
I asked you a question, Malibongwe. I'm asking you a question.
Oh, okay. Oh, okay.
You see? Do you see what the problem is now?
I'm saying yes.
Okay.
I'm saying yes. I've answered the question.
Okay.
Can you see now?
No. Malibongwe. You are the one who is touched and feeling offended. If your faith is so strong, why are you bothered?
Why are you not having other faiths?
But I mentioned, I mentioned other faiths, but you chose not to. No, you chose not to hear other faiths, Malibongwe.
You didn't tell us about a specific person who says, I left Islam for this reason. You told us about Christianity, which is fine. Is it possible that there's no Islamic person who gave you an example? No Jewish person?
So, Malibongwe, let me answer you. Because I'm not surrounded by as many people who are Muslim that have left. And I cannot quote to you stories from the Quran because I have not read it. So I can only speak from my own reference point. But already you are behaving like the type of Christians that Christians leave.
The agenda.
Okay. Thank you so much, Malibongwe. I appreciate.
That person was right.
Yes.
That person was right. You are up to no good. You are up to no good.
May the Lord bless and keep you, Malibongwe. Guys, do some of you actually know that if there was an agenda, like, we just wouldn't take your calls? Have people thought of that in their lives? I can choose not to take your call, but you choose not to hear when I mentioned other religions. I can't give you an example. I don't have that many people in my life who are Muslim. And the people who are in my life who are Muslim have never shared with me why they left. And because majority of South Africans are Christians, and I was raised Christian, that will become my reference point. Now you want to see an agenda where there is none. It's like, I truly believe in the concept of religious psychosis. people who will label normal conversations like this as you see how the devil is using Relebogile. Because only the devil, I cannot refer to stories from the Quran or any other biblical text because I do not know it. I don't. Your voice notes on 072 702 1702.
Interesting topic because it touches on faith, something everyone practices, whether you're atheist or not. I'm Zulu. My grandparents were born in KZN. We are very Zulu. I stopped believing in my ancestors when I was 14 because I lost my mom and dad when I was 4. And I realized that, there's nothing that is beyond God.
Sure. So somebody sharing their experience and their story leaving African spirituality. And I mean, these things do happen. We are in a majority Christian country. So obviously the likelihood is that we'll have more Christian references. But if you're going to choose to see everything as the devil trying to take you away from your belief system, I need to question your faith. Let's go to the lines. Tembile and Centurion, hi.
Hi, how are you?
Good, thanks, and you?
Good, man. Now there's a call to Malibongwe and saying that, my brother, please, man, don't see things that are not there. Everyone is entitled to their own opinion. You just need to be calm. Keep December, man. Relax. Don't be. I mean, you all worked out. No. Everyone is entitled to their own opinion. Don't see things which are not there. Chill, my brother.
Tembile, thank you. I hope he hears you loud and clear because I'm pretty sure he's listening.
Just relax.
Yes.
Relax, yeah.
All right. Thank you so much,
Shut
Tembile in Centurion, for that one. Let me see some of your messages. Hi, Relebogile. You see this topic you touch about religion and faith. It's like touching a snake right in the mouth. And it's not supposed to be like that. Why should somebody be upset about what somebody else believes? As long as it's not imposing on the rights of another person. What is the issue? Lulu in Glen Murray, hi.
Hi, Relebogile and the team. I just called to wish you guys all the best of luck for this topic because it's going to get heated. I'm actually interceding for you guys.
Why? What are you worried about, Lulu?
No, it's not that I'm worried. You know how it goes. Politics, sports, and religion. It gets very, very touchy. And you heard the gentleman who called. Already we've started and it's getting heated, and it is how it is. And you can't, tippy-toe around those subjects. It's gonna get heated. So I want to wish you guys the best of luck. I myself, Relebogile, am a Christian, and I'd like to believe that nothing would literally ever separate me from the love of God because I've seen God work in my life. So I know nothing beyond that.
Yes.
So however,
Oh, Lulu, we seem to be losing you. I'm not sure what's happening with your network there. But message loud and clear. And let me just say, guys, we're in the business of talk radio. We are fully aware what is going to engage in conversation and what is not. This is what we do for a living. We have producers, we have data. The station is decades old. So just keep that in mind as well. And me personally, as Relebogile, I don't have conversations to rage bait or for the sake of. I have conversations because I think we can understand one another a lot better by sharing our experiences. That's it. Simple. That is the agenda. Let's have great conversations. Let's share and let's grow together. Hear more of your voice notes on 072 702 1702.
Atheism isn't really about not believing in a God. It's not believing the claim that's made, and purely because of a 100% lack of evidence. There's nothing. Not even the Pope would be able to provide any evidence. And if anyone could, any human on earth could provide evidence for a God or whatever, there would be like a Nobel Prize for them. But yeah, it's just no evidence. And people say, but look at the trees, look at the earth. But that's not evidence. We need something that will hold up in a court. G from D.
The fact that every other animal on earth lives instinctually other than humans is why I don't believe in human teachings. I believe that the place you'll most clearly see God is in the natural world.
Good afternoon, Relebogile. This is Selma from Roodepoort. For people who don't believe in a deity like God or Allah, which I consider to be just two different names for the same deity, entity, whatever, should watch a movie called Connected. I can't remember if it was Showmax or which of the ones it was on, but anyway, if they watch that, they will realize how connected everything is and how even what happens to us are sort of predetermined, and that everything is basically controlled by a huge power, which I call God. So yes, I believe in God. Thanks for a lovely show. Bye.
Thank you so much, Salma. Thank you for all of those voice notes. More of the messages that are coming through. One says, I sometimes feel ashamed for being a child of God because we fail God. Most of the church visitors go to church but don't do what God expects of us, is a message that's come through. One other person says they chose to change, and this is in Kipiteni on Facebook, because I realized that there is more in living out life outside of fear attached into doctrine of religion. I freed myself from fear of hell, is what he says. Buledi says, I grew up a Christian, but I quit because as I grew older, the story started sounding like a fairy tale. God creating two people, but their children had uncles. God choosing a certain nation of all of us. Story of a big yacht carrying animals, some of which are dangerous. It's just too many stories meant for toddlers. That is from Buledi. Another one says, oh man, Relebogile, it is really sad and unfortunate that people could even take that route. I've been through tons of challenges and God has seen me through all of them. I got saved at Rhema in 1995 and I'm all the better for it. Nothing will lead me to denounce God. Jesus is my Lord and Savior. Sizwe on Facebook says, history disputes everything that the Bible says and there's no evidence of the events stated in the whole book. That is from Sizwe. Yeah, it is very interesting. Ras Mahosi says they chose to leave religion when the preacher praised the crook during a funeral. It is very, very, very interesting. More of your voice notes on 072 702 1702.
Hi, Sis Relebogile. On this one, I'm defending you. Puta siyeki Islam, puta akukho la sibona ukuthi kukhona into engathi yasicontradicta. Sihleli sinje ku-Islam. Siyaphinda sithi la ilaha illallah Muhammad Rasulullah.
Batong, there's no agenda here. Can we just come down and have a civil, constructive conversation? There is no agenda here. You know, so the caller sounds like they're trying to shut down this conversation, but no, let's have a civil conversation. There's no agenda here.
We will continue with more of your voice notes, WhatsApps and calls. It's time for your latest Eyewitness News headlines. It's 1:30. Good afternoon.
Thanks, Relebogile. Good afternoon. Motorists are set to pay more at the pumps from tomorrow. The Minerals and Petroleum Resources Department announced today that both grades of petrol will increase by 28 cents per litre. Diesel prices will see an increase of between 65.48 cents and 82.48 cents per litre. The Johannesburg High Court has found 2 of the 3 apartheid police officers charged with the murder of student leader Caiphus Nyoka guilty of the crime. Major Leon van den Berg and Sergeants Abraham Engelbrecht and Pieter Stander have been standing trial for the 1987 murder. But the court has acquitted van den Berg, finding that the state failed to prove its case against him beyond reasonable doubt. And the country's economy expanded by 0.5% in the third quarter of the year, marking the 4th consecutive rise in economic activity. This follows a revised increase of 0.9% in the second quarter. The GDP reading released by Stats SA today is in line with market expectations. Those are the headlines. This Eyewitness News and more at 2 o'clock or as it happens.
EWN Traffic.
Well, at this stage, heading in and out of the Joburg CBD, you can still expect heavy delays in the Amalgam area. This is on Main Reef Road between Anderson and Nazareth Road. We still have those roadworks in the Calvin Alex area, slowing down traffic N3 in both directions between London Road and the Patrol Interchange. Also leaving Sandton, heading towards Midrand. Traffic is a bit sluggish. This is M1 northbound between Marlborough Drive and the Patrol Interchange in 4 ways. There's also bumper-to-bumper traffic on Winnie Mandela Drive. This is between Bidkopen and the N1. If you come across any other traffic issues, please WhatsApp us on 072 702 1702.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app.
Clement Maniatella.
Weekday mornings,
9 to 12.
9 to 12.
An IPID report says this person has not been honest. In fact, he abused his power. He wasn't supposed to sign the memoranda, these 2 memoranda of understanding. And you don't do anything about it. In fact, she went on Eyewitness News earlier this year where she said, well, that IPID report is vague. No action is going to be taken against Julius Mkhonazi. She's a city manager of a metro like Ekurhuleni. You still go and give an interview and then you sought legal advice and the legal team said, this report is vague. And you just took that, you ran with it. You didn't question the legal department to say, but hold on. But it says here that this person signed 2 memoranda of understanding. He didn't have authority to do that. She didn't ask any of that. What a disgrace.
Clement Maniatella.
9 to 12 on 702.
Imagine a world where groundbreaking health discoveries start right at home. The WITS Interdisciplinary and Translational Science BioHub will be Africa's first duly integrated bedside to bench to breakthrough campus. It brings scientists, clinicians, entrepreneurs, and the industry together to fast-track solutions for the continent's biggest health challenges. From multi-omics research to new vaccines and diagnostics, this is where African science rises. Learn more, get involved, and help accelerate the future of global health innovation at WITS.
PG Glass Repair, PG Glass Replace.
I'm Telane from PG Glass. Got a chip? We'll fix it with precision, and we offer cash deals on high-quality new windscreens.
Visit pg.co.za today for trusted service.
If you think you cannot afford a lawyer, think again. Clientele Legal has made professional legal services affordable. You receive up to 745,000 rand worth of legal services per year. Our range of plans include cover for you, your spouse, children, and extended family. Plans include cover for civil, criminal, and labor-related matters. Whether it's protection orders, gender-based violence, uncontested divorce, or poor service, your Clientele Legal lawyer will be there to assist you. Our services are convenient. Simply pick up the phone and call your lawyer or send us an email and we'll get back to you. All plans include a bail benefit of up to 5,000 rand and we'll go to the police station and pay it for you. Plus, Clientele Legal offers you 24-hour telephonic legal advice. SMS Legal to 48721. That's legal to 48721. Clientele General is an authorized FSP and licensed non-life insurer. T's and C's online. Standard rates apply.
Your voice.
Your life.
Your afternoon radio.
On 702 Afternoons.
With Relebogile Mabotja.
25 minutes to 2 o'clock. We're having a conversation around leaving behind your religion or belief system. If there's something specific that led to that, whether you're Christian, you're a Muslim, you're Buddhist, or you consider yourself atheist, agnostic. We just discovered the term being a humanist. But is there something specific, your belief system that you said, I no longer believe in that. We've already had a caller who said they left African spirituality after their parents died. So there are many, many. We're not going to mention all, but we usually highlight the bigger known religions and belief systems. 011 883 0702 and the WhatsApp line 072 702 1702. There's a message. Hi, Relebogile. I am contemplating leaving Christianity because it was imposed on us by colonialists. And through the Bible, this religion promotes superiority of one gender over the other. But it's still a contemplation at this stage. Otherwise, I strongly believe in the might of the supernatural. And they continue to say, again, some of the stories in the Bible sound like fairy tales and at times exaggerated. This is from Tusi Mutsopi from Fosloras in Ekurhuleni. Another person here says, people will never understand the meaning of conversation. Always bona ke bo Cinderella. I'm assuming he's saying they're always victims, basically, in the narrative. Also, okay, let me actually just read more WhatsApps. Hi, I'm Luyanda. It's so sad that in order for Africans to be true Christians, they have to leave their roots. Our roots are demonized, is what another person says. Thobela Relebogile. Malebongwe is the one who has an agenda and cannot even listen to what you're saying. Bless him indeed. Keep going, my sister. I'm going to more of some of the Facebook messages that have come through. Madison is responding to Lungi on Facebook, who's saying, why are you guys against Christianity? And Lungi, Madison rather responds to say, Lungi, it was given as an example since it's the biggest in this country. Stop being defensive on baseless things. You found Christianity when you were born and you'll leave it behind. Learn to engage the topic without feeling they're talking about you, more especially Christianity. It's not a religion that's started by you or anyone you know. Yo, Christopher says, people demand to see, to believe. They don't even know what faith in something means. Ngondi says, when we get told of eternity, while on the other hand, we are told about how God will punish us for the sins we committed during our little period on earth, the sins of the short period on earth, punishable for eternity. What kind of God is that? Is Mlondi saying that they left, their Christianity or belief in God? On the WhatsApp line, Rabia Adawiya, a female saint of Islam, says, if I worship you for fear of hell, burn me in hell. And if I worship you in hope of paradise, exclude me from paradise. But if I worship you for your own sake, grudge me not your everlasting beauty. Thank you for that message. Jonathan Taylor says that they stopped believing when they actually started thinking about it. And certain things basically were not making sense to that person. Hi, Relebogile. Interesting topic. Christians are quick to feel attacked because they're always trying to convince people to join the religion, even though they themselves have limited information. I'm what you call a realist, Mpo from Fosloris. Greetings. My name is Clive Mark Cook, a proud Hindu that believes and has seen the power of God. Thank you so much for that message. Mukundi from Mondio says, the topic is why did you leave your faith, not attack other faiths, is what they're saying. Yes. I took some time and read the Bible myself, and I realized that it tells a story, but many who preach tends to apply scripture selectively. For me, God is the creator of all. My God does not have a religion, neither did Jesus belong to any religion. Chad in Joburg South says, God is most clear to me in nature. Nothing about modern society has God in it. It's all artificial, is what he has to say. More of your voice notes on 072 702 1702.
Hi, Relebogile. This is a straightforward discussion that's, calls for calm and a thoughtful contribution. I mean, if someone feels unwilling to participate, they should just simply allow those who wish to engage to do so. There is no anti-Christian agenda being driven by 702. Because I hear others have already started saying 702 is pushing Christianity agenda. I mean, we should never hesitate to speak openly about any subject in this radio station. Please, Elia Ian Centurion.
Thank you so much. We go to the lines. Is it Vernier of Werner van Pretoria? Is it
It's
Werner? Bye, donkey
correct.
Werner. Go ahead.
Thanks very much. The theory that people have that they're going to burn forever and ever is not biblical. Jesus did not say that when there is destruction, it will be complete, it will be in a moment, and the people are rejecting Jesus for things which Jesus never said. People are rejecting Christianity based on something which true Christianity does not teach. There is no eternal burning fire. If you read Hebrews, then it says that God himself is a consuming fire. Jesus is that. And if I hold on to sin, if I hold on to what's going to destroy me, then that will consume me. But I'm not going to be constantly burning. It's not there. They will be consumed as an instant, and it will not be there anymore. A new heaven and a new earth does not mean that there's going to be another place where people are burning all the time. Doesn't work like that. Bible doesn't teach that. Jesus didn't die for us just to keep on torturing people. That's not it. That's not it. God is love. So if we're going to say that we don't want to believe, we're welcome not to believe. But then we have to not believe because of something which is true. Don't believe the lie that God takes pleasure in causing pain to people. That's not it. That's not it. Thanks.
Thank you so much, Werner from Pretoria. Appreciate your contribution. There was something that I just thought about while we're having this conversation. And I sometimes think that the reason people leave certain belief systems is a lot of the time because of other people. So I'll give an example. I know of people who will say, like, because their church is clothed and looks like a godly place, but the people in there are not, is kind of the reason why they leave. But which is why many people say, go and discover God for yourself. Or if it's Allah, go and read for yourself. Don't rely on what another person is going to tell you. Go and do the work for yourself. Tumi says, Relebogile, na, I'm a church dropout because people are selective sinners and they hate accountability. So what's the use of bathing and going to play church, and pastors are no longer shepherds? They eat their flock. Ooh. Lerato in Joburg, hi.
Hi, Relebogile, how are you?
Good, thanks, and you?
I'm good, thanks. I don't know how many times you've emphasized what the topic is. And I don't think the conversation shouldn't necessarily be for people to come and correct why people left their religions, why they believe, their reasons that they left their faith and all of that. People have if a person says, I left their reasons for A, B, and C, I don't think it's anybody's prerogative to come on and say, no, but you're wrong for believing why you left. Your reasons for leaving are wrong, and this is what the Bible actually says, and correct. So the topic was basically, why did you leave your religion? Not are the reasons you left your religions right or wrong.
Not the topic also wasn't should you leave your religion.
Yeah,
it was if you did, why did you?
If you did, why? So it doesn't put anyone in the it doesn't highlight anyone's religion or belief system or a reason for believing what they believe. It was just a matter of if you did, why? And I don't think anyone should be attacked, corrected, or their reasons questioned. Let people believe what they want to believe. Let people live their lives freely in their non-belief or belief.
Did you do debating at school, Lerato?
No, not really.
No, you would have killed it, ma'am. You would have aced it because it was always going back to what was the topic, not all the peripherals. It always goes back to what is the topic at hand. But thank you for re-emphasizing. Yeah, because I know that people, when it's a sensitive issue, so people then will hear the bits that they hear, and I also don't blame them because we don't know what people have experienced, what people have gone through, and what their religion means to them.
Yeah.
So, you know,
Let
that's...
people believe,
Yes.
and it's not an attack. Nobody's attacking your faith. They're just giving you their reasons for not believing. That's it. And they're not asking you to attack them back.
Sure. Thank you so much, Lerato from Joburg CBD. We have one more voice note on 0727021702.
Afternoon, Relebogile and team. Mapari here. I just find it funny that people, when they question the stories in the Bible, they always go to the Old Testament or the New Testament. They never go to the last part, which is Revelations. No one says, Revelation is wrong. Revelation. They don't go there. Don't go there. I believe in Jesus. I believe he's the Savior. And then I don't judge anyone who doesn't believe so, honestly.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Peter. Is saying, somewhere, somehow, I feel like Relebogile has something against Christianity. Guys. Yeah, ne. Carlos on Facebook says, I acknowledge God, but I don't accept religion. Yo, guys, it's a lot, hey? It's a lot, Abel. Abel, is it a lot? Maybe on another day we must try the topic again and ask, if you left your religion, what is the reason that you left it? But thank you so much for all of your messages, your voice notes, and your phone calls.
Bongani Bingwa, 702 Breakfast.
Weekday mornings, 6 to 9. Do you feel there's no point in voting because things are not going to change? And if you are dissatisfied with the conditions in which you live and the leaders that lead you, doesn't that play directly into the hands of those who are failing you? Might a lack of delivery even be a political strategy? Because if people stay away because of dissatisfaction, it benefits the incumbents, the very people who failed you.
Bongani Bingwa, 6 to 9.
On 702.
Mzansi, hurry and pick your 6 lucky numbers to play Powerball and Powerball Plus for 73 million rand in total estimated jackpots this Tuesday. Play Powerball for an estimated 62 million rand and Powerball Plus for an estimated 11 million rand. Buy your tickets now in store on nationallottery.co.za, the mobile app, cell phone banking, or simply dial *120 *7529 hash for USSD. Panda Pusha Play. Players must be 18 years or older. Play responsibly. Ituba is the proud operator of the National Lottery.
The Money Show.
Weekday evenings at 6.
An announcement from the KwaZulu-Natal Premier that people with money in the financial institution Itala will be able to get their money out before Christmas. Just explain to me why you need to borrow money to pay depositors who deposited money at Itala.
Let's assume, for argument's sake, in the banking environment, we had to call in all the loans. It's just short of 2 billion rand. We then would not have had to borrow the money. We would have been some 200 million short.
Francois Rogers, MEC for Finance in KZN.
The Money Show.
On 702. Let's walk the talk.
The Money Show, Stephen Curtis, is brought to you by ABSA CIB. Invested in your story because your story matters. ABSA is an authorized FSP and registered credit provider.
702.
Tech Feature.
11 minutes to 2 o'clock in our tech feature for today. We're talking about using smart tech to tackle South Africa's growing water crisis. And this is an important conversation. Get your questions and comments in 011 8830 702 and the WhatsApp line 072 702 1702. We're joined by Rodney Louis, founder and CEO of JR Prodigy Venture, or JRPV. Rodney, welcome to the show. Thank you so much for joining us.
Good afternoon, Lebo. Thank you for having me.
Please, can you share with us how you found yourself in the tech space and trying to find a solution specifically for this particular crisis?
Yes, Lebo. So basically, I've been a tech enthusiast all my life. So I'm always fascinated with new technology items and the likes. So with the advent of the 4IR and the evolution of smart devices that most people own, we were delving into how we can play a role in the utility space in bringing analog data to a digital platform.
Okay, so explain to us in layman's terms what that means.
Yeah, so basically, what we do is with our OEM partners. So basically, your conventional water meter, you will have to go to the physical meter to check the reading.
Yes.
So in the market, what we've looked at is how we can incorporate what we call data loggers. We can convert that signal to a digital signal, and then basically display the data that's on your meter on a dashboard and app in real time.
I see. And then is the reader meant to be the municipality, or everybody should have access to that data?
Yeah, so basically we want to make the data available to everybody so that people can better manage, better budget your water consumption, and also see what has been consumed and how to just better control the spend.
Okay, help us understand how exactly this technology works.
Yeah, so basically, a water meter, as you consume water, your meter obviously turns, and the reading comes up on your meter. So basically, that reading that's currently on your meter, the data logger then basically replicates it to appear on a digital platform or app. So that we do via what we call a reading switch, which then basically the pulse, because your water meter has emits a little pulse, and that pulse basically then gets sent to the cloud, and our platforms are able to convert it.
Okay, and in terms of your rollout plan, I mean, what has the reception been so far with all the levels of government that you've dealt with around having a smart meter as opposed to what we have currently?
Yes, so currently it's been very favorable. We haven't been able to land a big enough pilot to do a proper rollout, but we are currently working in the private sector, where we're currently doing some POCs so that people can just start to experience the benefit.
Can you just help us, because you're using terminology we're not familiar with?
Yes.
So what are
okay.
POCs?
No, sure. So, Lebo, so POC is what is referred to as a proof of concept.
Okay, got you.
So this proof of concept is that the property owner will be able to then real time experience what we're talking about. So there's a lot of new terms coming out. So we will be installing a data logger at a shopping center, as an example, or a student accommodation. So the owner of these properties will then be able to then see what's being consumed at the properties in real time.
From your view and perspective, how close do you think we are to having a water crisis in South Africa?
Lebo, if we look at rainfall patterns across the country as well, due to the advent of global warming and the likes, the crisis is not too far away. Especially where I'm from in the Eastern Cape, where we experience low levels of rain, drought periods quite frequently. So I think it's a problem or a crisis that we need to address rather sooner than later.
So where do you think some of the biggest challenges are? Is it around leaks? Is it around infrastructure collapse? Is it around poor monitoring? Maybe you can mention a few of the challenges that you are seeing.
Yes. So, Lebo, all of the above, I would say, but I would say it will start from a municipal infrastructure monitoring point of view, because what data logging can do, and I know some municipalities are using it, would be then to obviously they can improve on the existing technologies, is to have if it's ward-based or area-based logging, so where you can in real time be able to check what is happening with water from a point A to a point B and the likes, and just by monitoring the performance on those points, it'll be much easier and more cost effective than to roll out repairs in time.
So what other data can these sensors collect outside of water usage?
Yeah, so Lebo, with technology improving so rapidly, there will be basically what can be done. Secondary is water quality can be looked at, as well as water quality. And like I said, with you having data at your disposal, you can now see immediately if there's abnormal consumption at your property, which most of the time will indicate either a faulty meter or leaks at your property.
Can it detect where the leaks are coming from? Is it at that level?
No. So basically, we measure from your meter to the property. So it will be able to tell you if there's any leaks between your water meter, your property, or anywhere in the building.
If, let's use Gauteng as the starting point. If, let's say, everybody in Gauteng got these smart meters installed, and they would have the system there by the city and Joburg Water and all of the different places, what kind of data would they be able to share with us outside of usage and maybe infrastructure challenges? What else could they use these smart meters for?
So that would actually be brilliant, because what will then happen is you will have a holistic, complete overview of areas and their consumption patterns. And that is a type of data that water boards, municipalities can then use, especially when it comes to tackling infrastructure challenges, consumption increases, and the likes, as well as what they are collecting from money that is being from water that's being consumed. So I think the data could be extremely valuable.
Where can people get in touch with your company if they would like to use this product on their meters?
So Lebo, clients or business associates can send us an email at info@jrp for Peter, V for Very.co.za, and we will gladly respond with any information that is required.
Rodney, thank you so much for chatting us today on our tech feature, and thank you so much for your time. info@jrpv.co.za.
John Perlman. Weekday afternoons,
3 to 6.
A lot of people can say they found themselves basically entrapped in a process of debt review that costs them money and also has implications for their credit status. What is the role of the NCR in getting people out of those situations, or are we barking up the wrong tree by expecting you to sort it out?
Certainly not. The NCR has a big role to play, especially where we are responsible also to look at market trends and those that are affecting especially the consumers that we protect under our National Credit Act.
John Perlman.
3 to 6 on 702.
Experience a unique musical journey as the Mzansi National Philharmonic Orchestra presents its national tour, Voices of Home, featuring legendary conductor Marine Alsop and homegrown global sensation Abel Selakwe. The program includes Selakwe's Four Spirits cello concerto, paired with Rachmaninoff's Romantic Symphony No. 2 concerts that take place at the Linda Auditorium on Wednesday the 10th and Thursday the 11th of December. That's next week. Book your tickets now at Quicket.
They say the early bird catches the worm. Great advice, unless you're the worm. Generic so-called wisdom doesn't work for everyone, so I settle for a financial plan that's one size fits some. Momentum accredited financial advisors take the time to get to really know your unique situation. Advice meets your context. Momentum, your journey to success. Momentum is part of Momentum Group Limited, an authorized financial services and registered credit provider.
In the next hour of the show, we're going to be starting a brand new series on the neuroscience of change and rewiring your life for 2026. Episode 1, we're going to talk about the brain and change. And then we'll go to our car feature, get your technical car questions in for Nicole Lowe on 011 883 0702 and the WhatsApp line 072 702 and 702. It's 2 o'clock.
This is EWN.
Good afternoon, I'm Maki Molapo. Motorists are set to pay more at the pumps from tomorrow as fuel prices increase. The Minerals and Petroleum Resources Department announced today that both grades of petrol will increase by 28 cents per litre. Diesel prices will see an increase of between 65.48 cents and 82.48 cents per litre. The department's Robert Maike.
Eliminating paraffin at wholesale level will increase by 74.48 cents per litre, and at retail level it will increase by 99 cents per litre. The maximum retail price of LP gas will increase by 24 cents per kilogram countrywide and by 9 cents per kilogram in the Western Cape.
Maike says several international factors influenced the fuel hike.
The reason for these adjustments are the average Brent crude oil prices decreased slightly during the period under review, and the rand appreciated against the dollar during the same period. The international product prices of petrol and diesel were also affected by lower inventories ahead of the winter season in the northern hemisphere, as well as the planned and unplanned refinery shutdowns in Europe as they prepare for their winter season.
Johannesburg Mayor Dada Morero has breathed a sigh of relief after the motion of no confidence against him was withdrawn. The motion, originally filed by the Al Jama'ah party and seconded by minority parties UDM and ATM, was meant to be heard in council today. Although these smaller parties form part of the ANC-led coalition, they said they'd lost confidence in the mayor. But they've now opted to address their issues with Morero outside of the council chambers. Alpha Ramushana has more.
Last night, the ANC-led coalition in Johannesburg met to discuss, among other matters, the motion of no confidence against Mayor Dada Morero. At the meeting, the minority parties agreed to withdraw the motion and instead set up a round-table discussion to address their grievances with the mayor. The motion was raised by parties within the coalition who say their discontent is not with the ANC itself, but with its leader in the city. UDM councillor Yongama Zikebe outlined why they chose to pull the motion at the last minute.
So those are some of the things that other partners rest to say, yes, we feel your pinch, we feel your pain, but at the same time, let us have a way instead of a motion that we can find going forward.
It's the second vote of no confidence in the mayor this year. 6 months ago, Morero survived one sponsored by the Democratic Alliance. Alpha Ramshwana, Eyewitness News, Johannesburg.
We move to the courts where the Johannesburg High Court has found 2 of the 3 apartheid police officers charged with the murder of student leader Caiphus Nyoka guilty of the crime. Major Leon van den Berg and Sergeants Abraham Engelbrecht and Pieter Stander have been standing trial for the 1987 murder. But the court has acquitted van den Berg, finding that the state failed to prove its case against him beyond reasonable doubt. Nyoka was murdered in his Davidson home in 1987. Khomotso Modise has more.
As Judge Mohammed Ismail handed down a detailed judgment, the accused sat closely next to each other, while Sergeants Abraham Engelbrecht and Pieter Stander regularly hung their heads. Ismail acquitted Major Leon van den Berg, who the state accused of ordering the raid.
The prosecution failed to establish or prove beyond reasonable doubt that accused number 1 associated himself with the actions of Mr. Mare, accused 2 and accused number 3 to kill the deceased.
But the court has found that Engelbrecht and Stander were behind the brutal murder of 23-year-old Nyoka.
On the accepted evidence, the court finds that the assailants entered Mr. Nyoka's room not to effect an arrest, but to assassinate him.
While according to the law, the bail of both men must expire now that they've been convicted, they've brought a new bail application, which the court must now consider. Khomotso Modise, Eyewitness News at the Johannesburg High Court.
And the country's economy expanded by 0.5% in the third quarter of the year, marking the 4th consecutive rise in economic activity. This follows a revised increase of 0.9% in the second quarter. The GDP reading released by Stats SA today is in line with market expectations. The Stats agency says 9 of the 10 industries on the production side were stronger in the third quarter, with mining, agriculture, forestry and fishing, as well as trade, recording the highest growth rate. Deputy Director General of Economic Statistics at Stats SA, Joe De Beer.
Over the longer term, we value the real GDP or the volume-based GDP at 1.187 billion. That's at the constant 2015 prices, and you can compare that to the levels that we had pre-COVID and during COVID. Looking at our time series, this is now the 4th consecutive quarter of economic expansion, 0.5, and that follows on the 0.9 that was revised from the 0.8.
Gold's trading at $4,205.37 an ounce. The rand's at 17.11 to the dollar, at 22.59 to the pound, at 19.87 to the euro. Brent crude oil's at $62.96 a barrel.
Well, at this stage, if you're leaving Sandton heading towards Midrand, we still have slow-moving traffic. This is on the M1 northbound between Marlborough Drive and the Butlu interchange. Also traveling through the Calvin Alex area. Roadwork still slowing down traffic on the N3 in both directions. This is between London Road and the Butlu interchange. Also bumper-to-bumper traffic in the Poleshoff area. This is on Witkoppen Road between Main Road and Stonehaven.
A look at your weather. It's a partly cloudy afternoon in Gauteng with afternoon showers and thunder showers expected. Today, temperatures are currently peaking at highs between 25 and 27 degrees. The top story in Eyewitness News this hour. Motorists are set to pay more at the pumps from tomorrow as fuel prices increase.
EWN, in touch, in tune, and independent. For the latest, visit ewn.co.za or download the EWN app.
You're with Relebogile Mabotja
Live, streaming countrywide
on the Prime Media Plus app.
DSTV channel 856,
92.7
and 106 FM.
Seven minutes after 2 o'clock, the second and final hour of 7:02 afternoons with me, Relebogile Mabotja. Guys, set your alarms. I know my mom will remind me. She's my alarm. The one that's going to remind you to fill up your tank today because petrol is going up. I don't even know how much of a difference it makes. I must ask Nickel Low. Maybe it's a psychological thing where we're like, at least I filled when the price was at X amount. All right, we are starting a brand new series today for the month of December, and we're going to be talking about the neuroscience of change so that we can all get better prepared to rewire our lives for 2026. Episode 1, we're talking about the brain and change and why change feels hard. We'll be joined by Liesel van der Westhuizen, certified neuroscience coach, for the conversation. And then we wrap up with our car feature. Nicolo will take all of your technical car questions, but we'll also chat about the electric bakkie and its future in South Africa. Get in touch with us, 011 883 0702. SMS us 31702. Tweet at Relebogile M, at Radio 702 using the hashtag 702 afternoons, and the WhatsApp line 072 702 1702.
702.
Series Edition.
Series Edition time. We have a brand new series for the month of December, and we had to go with something that we could all really prepare us and get us ready for the year that is 2026. And many people have had a difficult year for many different reasons, be it financial, emotional, psychological. People are facing unheard of challenges that they walk around and carry. So we, in this month, are going to talk about the neuroscience of change. Because yes, there are reasons why we struggle with certain things and why other things are easier. But do not worry, for our first episode, we're talking about the brain and change and why change feels hard. And we're joined by one of our very own from Prime Media family, but also certified neuroscience coach, Liesel van der Westhuizen. How are you, darling?
Good. How are you, friend? It's so great to be chatting and different roles that we all take on in our lives now.
Right.
From presenting to neuroscience and mental fitness. I'm just so fascinated by the field.
I am so excited for this conversation because already I know when one is trying to think about the new year, you're thinking in a state of being exhausted from the current year. You also can't wait for December to happen. But I had this crazy thought this morning of being like, so it's going to be my leave soon. And then 3 weeks are going to fly back and suddenly you're going to be back at work and realize, that's it. It's done. So I was having that mini panic. But let's chat firstly about neuroscience and what it's all about before we get to the part of change.
And neuroscience is just, so I'm just a neuroscience coach. You get
Yes.
neuroscience scientists and
Yes.
and people that really study that, and maybe in a couple of years that probably that's the direction I want to go. I was just fascinated by especially being an endurance athlete, being a presenter, how our brains work and how things fire differently. And then I just started researching, started reading, and then started getting more qualified into mental fitness, into neuroscience, how to bounce back from situations, how to handle those things that are self-saboteurs and those things that we say to ourselves. And if you had said to me 5 years ago, your brain can rewire itself, I would have said no ways. I would have said there's no way that it can do that. If I say a certain thing over and over and over, there's no way my brain is going to rewire. And then from studying the brain and seeing how our brain actually works and how our neural pathways work, we can actually rewire the way we think. And then I also just want to say what got me started on this is I thought I was broken with the way I was thinking, the way I was acting. And then I realized I'm not broken. This is just how my brain was wired. And with a few daily exercises here and there, I managed to rewire certain ways of looking at things and manage to study. I even went back to study. And when you get older, it's harder to get back into studies. So how your brain actually works, and the older you get, it slows down a little bit, but you can still learn new things.
Can you give us an example or two of what you looked at for yourself that made you think, oh my gosh, maybe I'm just broken? Because I'm pretty sure many will be able to relate to whatever it is that you have to say, because we always think there's certain things that only we think about or go through, not realizing that a lot of the things are quite common and, if I were to say in inverted commas, normal.
That's exactly what you think. It's just normal behavior. So I found myself, we work in a high pressure environment. We're on radio, then we're on TV, then we're filming our podcasts, and we're on social, and then it's go, go, go. We've got other things, emceeing, speaking at conferences, other work things that we do, kids, family. And on top of everything that I do, I was still doing Ironman triathlons and doozy canoe marathons and swimming, open water swims, and just filling my diary and being this hyperachiever. And I assumed that hyperachiever is what got me to be so successful. Until I did a course with my coach who's based in the US called Positive Intelligence. And it looks at your saboteurs. What's the things that are actually sabotaging us? And I did an online, and I'll share the link to that online test onto my LinkedIn. So if anyone wants to go and do it and see for themselves, I did this, and it came out that I'm hyperachiever. My saboteur is a hyperachiever, and my saboteur is also restless, where I can't sit still. I always have to be busy. Those are things that I thought was normal, and that pushed me through until I started working on this and realizing actually I am an achiever, but I don't need to go into this hyperachiever mode of doing everything and using that finish line of an Ironman or finish line of a doozy canoe marathon to justify who I am. As soon as I finished a marathon or finished an event, I'd go, okay, what's next? And I wouldn't just stop to enjoy the journey. It's the same with when we finish a broadcast. We're already focusing on our next episode. We don't even look back and go, wow, what did I enjoy about this episode? Or what did I enjoy about being on air today? Or when we've got a work project, we work to that deadline and we think, what's next? What's next? So it's things like that, like being restless. I thought that was just normal. That's how I was wired. It keeps me busy and it keeps me safe. And in fact, it was doing more damage. It was sabotaging me and sabotaging relationships, sabotaging how I work, sabotaging time with friends and family, because I always just looked like I was busy. And I found if I just took a moment just to take a breath and breathe, and just recenter myself, I found myself enjoying things more and not just pushing for that finish line or pushing for more, wanting more.
I'm so glad you explained it that way, because I think many people can relate to what you are sharing. I can definitely relate. Like what you said is always looking for the next thing and struggling to enjoy the present thing. And then when you're not being super, super productive, it then starts to feel like maybe you're a bit of a failure in some respects.
That's exactly it.
Right? And then also the part where, okay, outside of all these achievements, all these activities, you on your own actually should be enough in real life.
That's
but
exactly
it didn't.
it, and we don't.
Yeah. So I
No.
can totally relate to that.
And we put so much pressure on ourselves, and it doesn't matter what role we're on, whether we're presenters, whether we're CEOs. I work a lot. My main team, I work with sales teams a lot, and that pressure and that environment is so under pressure and so much stress that it's just about go go go. And sometimes you need to just take that moment to reflect, to have a breather, and to refocus our brain and get our brains, because our brain's also a muscle. It also needs time to rest and recover. And we don't always give it enough time at night. So just taking a micro break during the day, a 10-second breather, which is three rounds of breath, that gives your brain just that moment to just reset and go, okay, I'm coming back calm. I don't need to keep going and being in this fight and flight mode continuously.
Can you maybe share with us what was the point that made you say, because as you say, you thought, you then discovered that it was a wiring issue, a brain wiring issue. So what are the dots that you connected that made you understand that?
So I did the saboteur assessment on the Positive Intelligence website, the one that I'll share on LinkedIn, and it gave me my results just saying, this is what saboteurs are holding me back. These are my positive strengths, that if I work towards the positive and I just don't go into that overdrive mode, I can still be successful. I can still be good at my job. I can still be seen as a success. And I paired it up, and I did this I did this actually for 6 weeks, every single day. I had 3 breaks during the day of a minute each way. I just did breath. And I did it on purpose because I just wanted to see if it was true, if you can rewire how you think, if you can change patterns, if you can get your brain to rest. And after 6 weeks, because I actually thought, when a friend of mine told me about this, and a fellow coach in the States told me about this, I thought this is a joke. 6 weeks, there's no way I'm going to change something that I've spent years being who I am and the way I am. And one day I woke up and I realized I didn't need that Ironman finish line anymore. I enjoyed the journey to training to the Ironman, or I enjoyed the journey of doing a broadcast and looking at the highlights and reflecting back. And it was just something that I woke up in the middle of the night and realized I'm not that anxious panic anymore about go, 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 next achievement. What can I put on my LinkedIn to say I've achieved next? What defines me? And I realize it's that moment where you step back and go, I've got so many things that define me. But because my brain was in overdrive and panic and fight and flight continuously, I didn't see that bigger picture. And I realized just taking that breath and forcing myself to do that for 6 weeks gave me a chance to just rewire those neural pathways and rewire the way I think.
Did you notice your anxiety levels also change and your mental health change?
Yes, absolutely. And it's so hard to explain because it was literally it was 6 weeks of doing this continuously and I woke up one day and I went, I'm not as anxious and I'm not feeling that restless anymore. I'm not feeling that anxiety to go, go, go. And that actually started the research into how our brains actually work and how our neural pathways are formed. So our neural pathways, that's the road in your brain. And every time you repeat a behavior, you walk the same road. And the more you use it, with the repetition, the clearer and the faster the road becomes. So for example, if you're walking through a field with thick grass, the first time you walk through that thick grass, you're struggling with it. So the first time you do something new, you struggle with it. The next day you walk on that path with the thick grass, it gets a little bit easier. And eventually it gets easier and easier as your footsteps trample that grass down. It's the same with your brain. It starts as a struggle, but every single day, just sticking to a small, and I did something really small. I didn't go and say, I'm going to do an hour's breath work. I said, I'm going to do 1 3-minute breath works or 3 1-minute breath works every day. And if I miss a day, that's also okay. And that started that rewiring process. And it's as simple as that, creating that new neural pathway and that new road in your brain.
Okay, so where does one begin in terms of identifying if they are a good candidate for needing their brain rewired? What are the questions that maybe they should ask themselves? Or is it as simple as looking at oneself and saying, the way my life is set up right now, there's something that is not right or something that is not connecting?
I'm going to quote the author that wrote a book about positive intelligence, Shazad Shamin. He's spoken on Google. He's from Stanford University, and he wrote the book about mental fitness. He calls it positive intelligence. And he said that we face these saboteurs every single day, even him. as a top speaker and as a top researcher and as a top mental fitness coach working with top teams in the world, he even comes and came onto our coaching call saying, I still face those saboteurs every day. We still have those voices in our head that tells us we're not good enough. So it's not about rewiring. It's about understanding, first of all, what are we saying to ourselves every day? Every day we've got that judge voice that wakes up and says, oh, you're not good enough, or you're fat, or your face is podgy, or your nose is big. And that judge voice, we need to actually, first of all, just quiet and just go, no, don't allow that voice to overpower you. And if you actually had to count how many times a day you say negative things to yourself, you'd be so surprised. I ask clients to keep the diary of how many times they've spoken badly to themselves in their minds. So it's first quieting that voice and then just doing it's a 2-minute online test, positive intelligence saboteur assessment, and you'll see what are these things that are holding us back. What is really powerful in your life right now that's holding you back, whether it's avoider, whether it's a pleaser saboteur, whether it's the hyperachiever, hypervigilant, and there's loads of positives to that. But because of how we've grown up, certain of these saboteurs trigger in a certain way, and we think that's just the way we work. But it's actually just, it was a safety mechanism from when we were growing up. Now we've just taken it as a way of how we do things, hyperachiever saboteurs or avoider saboteurs. And then just taking that moment back and going, oh, wow, that I am an achiever, but I don't need to go into the hyperachiever overdrive. Oh, I'm great with people, but I don't need to be a pleaser. I can put those boundaries in place. So we all have certain saboteurs that hold us back and certain things that push us and drive us. And sometimes it goes into that overdrive and sometimes it becomes overwhelming for us. And that's where things like the anxiety sets in, or that fight and flight mode where you can't think clearly and you can't think of the solution properly and the brain fog sets in. So we all face these things on a different scale. Everyone's different. So go check out Positive Intelligence, a saboteur assessment, or go check my LinkedIn, Liesel Online. You'll see that assessment there and do it for yourself.
Look, I've already gone to LinkedIn as you were talking. I'm like, I'm going to find it. I'm going to do this thing.
Okay.
In terms of, and you touched... No, go ahead.
Yes. No, I was just saying our brains are so wide on looking at the negative that it actually takes 3 positives to counteract a negative. So when I speak to clients, I go, what was 3 positive things that happened today? And they went, oh, I can't think of any. But if you think of 3, it's just so much more powerful because we are wired to always see the negative. And it's about changing that wire. Your brain just sticks to what we know because of being comfortable. And we need to make sure that we are triggering those positive aspects every single day.
You touched on such an important word, which was boundaries. And I want us to briefly discuss why boundaries are, I know we use the word boundaries a lot in relation to ourselves with other people, but they're also important with ourselves. I mean, you have given examples of like, you're trying to, cross every marathon line, every Ironman, right? But also being able to tell yourself, no, you don't have to do that one. Actually, you can rest, or actually, it's not worth you ditching your family for this thing. Can you touch on the boundaries part? Because I think everybody on some degree struggles, but particularly with ourselves.
This is such a hard one because you want to do so much for so many people, especially over the festive season, and you've got family and friends coming and you want that perfect family dinner or that perfect festive lunch, and actually sitting back and going, I don't have time this festive season to put the full lunch together. Maybe we'll get the family to do, this person brings this person brings that. So it's putting these rules and boundaries, or should I say fences in place, just to go, or even gates in place that for now it's closed and I'm not able to do this. And then maybe in January I'll open the gate and I'll be able to assist. Or we're so hard on ourselves. We never take that time to say, this is my non-negotiable time. And that's what I did with those 2 minutes or 3 minutes of 1 minute exercises. I put it in my diary and I went, this is my boundary. I have to do this because I want to see if after 6 weeks I'm going to see a difference with the way I react to certain situations, the way my mental fitness gets stronger, my brain muscles get stronger. And by putting those boundaries in place, it's not saying no to someone, it's just saying, this is all I have capacity for right now. And a lot of clients I work with, I say to them, what is at capacity right now as you head into December that you don't have space for? Put a fence around it for now with a gate, and then explain carefully to family members that this is how you're feeling, this is the reason why you've done it, and maybe in January that gate will open again or that fence will come down. But for now, it's just protecting your own mental health and your own rest time this holiday season. You've got 3 weeks of holiday. Now imagine you've got to go, trying to please everyone, trying to achieve everything during that time. You're going to be exhausted by the time you get back, and then it's another year before another 3-week break.
How did you discover that you wanted to start with the 3 minutes once a day? Or like, how did you come up with that for yourself? Because I also want everybody to be able to, when they do this exercise, to be able to discern what's going to work best for them.
This is so what it came from is from my mental fitness coach saying to me, and I said, I don't have 2 minutes a day I'm busy. I don't have time for this. I don't have time to breathe. No one has time to breathe. And she said, do you brush your teeth? And I said, because you're so busy on deadlines, you don't have time to just stop in a deadline and go, hang on, I'm going to breathe 3 times. So it's the same as you going to the gym. Every day you go to the gym to work on your biceps or your triceps or whatever you're strengthening. But none of us are taking that minute break to reset our brain. So my coach said to me, well, if you're brushing your teeth for 2 minutes a day, while you're brushing your teeth, all you focus on is brushing your teeth. Because in the morning, we're sitting there brushing our teeth, and what we're focusing on is, did I make this kid's lunch? Have they done homework? What meetings do I have today? What do I need to wear? And you're not present. So it's catching your brain in a moment where you're doing habit stacking. You're already doing something and just feeling the bristles between your teeth, feeling what the toothpaste feels like, and just standing there and being present and doing your breath while you brush your teeth. And you're brushing your teeth twice a day, 90 to 2 minutes a time. There, you've got it. It's so easy. You don't even have to take that break in the day. And you'll find after 7 days, after 14 days, your capacity to deal with things and your reaction time to deal with something, you won't get as worked up. You won't get as stressed because you're taking that time for your brain to have that moment to just breathe, relax, focus, and be present, because we're not always present in a moment.
Do you think part of the other reason, just in terms of what you were saying about being present, do you think that the other reason that maybe we feel like we're all over the show is because we aren't giving our brains enough time to process anything we're doing? So, you touched on the big things, and I think I kind of also started to feel that way, where like you win an award, for example, or you get this great achievement, and then it's like exciting for 5 minutes, and then you move on. And then you're like, I'm not sure it's supposed to feel like this.
And it's not, and
you know what I mean? So like, I don't think it's supposed to feel like this.
Exactly. And with the radio awards coming this weekend, that's a big thing too, because you win the award, you see the trophy, and you go, okay, now what's next? And it's about being mindful in that moment. And actually, I make my clients do that. And I also work with athletes, elite athletes and Olympians. If they win that medal, they take that moment to just reflect on the 4 years it took to get there, but the highlights, and you every single day reflect on that trophy or that award for at least a week, just what it means to you, what was positive about it, and taking those moments in, because we're so busy scrolling on social media, looking at what's next, looking at what this person's doing, looking at what that person's doing, comparing our lives, that we're not taking that moment to be present and appreciate what it's taken to achieve that award. It might not have been 4 years of training for an Olympic athlete. It might have been years of being a presenter, or years of being a chartered accountant, years of being a CEO or a leader. And it's just appreciating what we've done to get there. So taking that breather and that moment to be present, appreciate the award, and anchor that feeling in of what it felt like when you walked onto that stage to get that award. and reliving that. There's nothing wrong with reliving that moment, that feel-good moment, because that also helps rewire your brain.
All right, so it's called positive intelligence, right?
That's right.
Okay, you're going to share the link with us as well so we can share it to all of the listeners.
Yes.
If you want to go and do this saboteur assessment and see what you come out of it in terms of starting to rewiring your life, rewiring your brain and using your brain and maybe not so much thinking about the change, but actively doing it in small bits and pieces. And I like what you said.
That's the big thing, small things.
Small bits and pieces. I love what you said of just, if it's 1 minute 3 times a day, then it's 1 minute 3 times a day. Where you are, with what you have, even if it's just to breathe, even if it's to count the breathing in your head. I absolutely love that because it's so practical and simple and something that anybody can do. Liesel van der Westhuizen, we definitely will be catching up soon again. Thank you for joining us.
Thanks for the chat. Chat soon.
It's 2:31. Time for your latest Eyewitness News headlines. Good afternoon.
Thanks, Relebogile. Good afternoon. Al Jamaa councillor in Johannesburg, Kabelo Gwamanda, has defended the party's decision to withdraw its motion of no confidence against Mayor Dada Morero. Gwamanda withdrew the motion against his successor in council today, just moments before councillors were scheduled to vote on Morero's possible removal. Al Jamaa had initially sought to oust the mayor, accusing him of failing to consult coalition partners on key decisions. Correctional Services Minister Pieter Groenewald says he will now allow the contract for the private running of the Mangaung Correctional Centre to expire naturally. Parliament has, on more than one occasion, instructed the department to cancel the arrangement with security company G4S, spurred on by the elaborate escape of convicted murderer Thabo Bester in 2022. Groenewald informed Parliament's Portfolio Committee today that litigation to prematurely terminate the contract has become too costly to pursue with just 7 months remaining. And in South Asia, the death toll from the Sri Lankan floods has risen to 410. The Disaster Management Centre says 336 people remain missing following a week of the heavy rains and landslides triggered by Cyclone Ditwa. According to reports, over 1.5 million people were affected by what is considered to be the worst natural disaster to hit the country since the Indian Ocean tsunami of 2004. Those are the headlines. This Eyewitness News and more at 3 o'clock or as it happens.
EWN Traffic.
Well, at this stage, if you're leaving Sandton heading towards Midrand, we still have slow-moving traffic on the M1 northbound. That's between Marlborough Drive and the Platoon Interchange. Also, if you're leaving the Calvin Alex area, expect heavy delays due to roadworks on the N3 in both directions. This is between London Road and the Platoon Interchange. Also, if you are heading towards the Joburg CBD, that's coming from the Germiston area. Slow-moving traffic on the M2 westbound between Heidelberg Road at the Crown Interchange. Look out for those faulty traffic lights in 4 ways at Witkoppen and Cedar. If you come across any other traffic issues, please WhatsApp us on 072-702-1702.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app.
There's a new way to experience all your favorites. Pulse Africa, the 24/7 fast channel, now live on PrimeMediaPlus.com and the Prime Media Plus app, bringing you the best of Prime Media around the clock. Watch the biggest moments from 702. It's non-stop entertainment and authentic African storytelling, all from Africa's leading media network. Pulse Africa, only on the PrimeMediaPlus.com and Prime Media Plus app.
Mzansi, hurry and pick your 6 lucky numbers to play Powerball and Powerball Plus for 73 million rand in total estimated jackpots this Tuesday. That's today. Play Powerball for an estimated 62 million rand and Powerball Plus for an estimated 11 million rand. Buy your tickets now in store on nationallottery.co.za, the mobile app, cell phone banking, or simply dial *120 *7529# for USSD. Panda Pusha Play. Players must be 18 years or older. Play responsibly. Ituba is the proud operator of the National Lottery.
Building a life across borders starts with choices. Visas, a second passport, citizenship, your child's education abroad. And sometimes those choices can be overwhelming. For 30 years, Sable International has simplified global mobility, including cross-border tax, forex, and wealth management, helping you make the right choices with expertise and care. Build your future beyond borders. Visit us at sableinternational.com.
To walk the talk is to turn words into meaningful actions. And it's what we at 702 are committed to doing every day. We are also committed to following the rules set out by the Broadcasting Complaints Commission's Code of Conduct. To give you balanced programming, fair comments, and accurate news. But if we stumble along the way and you feel we are not living up to the code, let us know on comment@702.co.za. And if after that you're still not happy, you can direct your complaint in writing to the Broadcasting Complaints Commission. Email bccsa@nabsa.co.za. For more, visit bccsa.co.za.
You know what success looks like. Now discover why focus is the driving force behind every success story. Catch 702 in conversation with Momentum on The Money Show with Stephen Krutters every Thursday, discussing the science of success. Step into the mindset of top financial achievers and discover how your thinking, behavior, and focus can shape lasting financial success. That's 702 in conversation with Momentum. Thursdays on The Money Show with Stephen Krutters. Momentum, your journey to success on 702. Momentum is an authorized financial services and registered credit provider.
Coming up
On 702 Drive with John Perlman.
702 Drive is coming up from 3 to 6 p.m. with John Perlman. John, how's it doing?
Doing
how's
well,
it
thanks.
going? Rather.
Yeah.
Good. What is coming up on your show today?
So, there's startling news just coming up now on Newsroom Africa, where they say that police, I'll just read it, police detain a group in court for allegedly planning to, quote, eliminate key role players, end quote, in the Senzo Mayiwa murder trial, and that the judge and the prosecutor were targeted. Just seen that story now, but clearly we need to follow that. The other big story of the day, suspended police minister Senzo Mchunu is now appearing before the Madlanga Commission of Inquiry, and that's going to produce very, very interesting information and questions and issues. I'm sure we'll catch up with that with Oren Singh after 5. I suspect they'll still be in session. They're doing much longer sessions now to try and meet the deadlines they set, because they are going to end up for the year on Friday. So there's quite a lot that we need to talk about there. Very startling information coming out of the Construction Industry Development Board. They say that they find that a significant number of companies have actually bought their certificates of proficiency.
Oh, wow.
And the implications are partly obviously around the spending of public money where they've got public contracts. But secondly, if they bought a certificate of competence and got a contract to build a bridge, would you want to be driving over that bridge?
Definitely
And all
not.
of this has come into focus because 30 projects commissioned by the KwaZulu-Natal Department of Transport remain unfinished. So that was kind of, I think, the match that lit the tinder. But in any case, I don't know as much about it as I would like to. We'll have the CEO of the board, Bongani Tladla, joining us to give us his thoughts on that at 10 minutes past 4. And I'm sure the day will throw up all sorts of other interesting things too.
Indeed. 702 Drive with John Perlman coming up from 3 to 6 p.m.
702.
The car feature.
Time for our car feature, and today we are joined by technical car expert Nicole Lowe, which means you can get all of your technical car questions in on 011 883 0702 and the WhatsApp line 072 702 702. Do your absolute best to include as much information as possible, but who knows, Nicole might save you a few rands and cents when it comes to whatever issues you're dealing with your vehicle, and maybe what the people you went to have said as well. But prior to that, we're going to have a conversation around electric bakkies. Nicole, welcome to the show. How are you doing?
Hi, Relebogile. Yeah, all good, and yourself?
I am doing well, and I'm so excited to hear all about this. Because this week I was test driving a hybrid electric and petrol car, and again the thought came to my mind about the practicality with my area having power off and on. And I thought, okay, if I were to do electric, it helps having the backup of petrol if you've got issues in your area. So I'm actually glad we're having this conversation to see, are they as functional and as what people would need when it comes to bakkies? Because I feel like many South Africans use bakkies for their intended purpose, not just for having a big car on the road.
Yes, and we know how popular bakkies is in South Africa. And I was actually looking or writing an article looking to next year and realizing that we'll get our first electric Hilux in South Africa next year. So the Hilux facelift has been revealed, and everyone has had a few opinions how the new Hilux will look like. And obviously in the range is also a BEV, battery electric vehicle Hilux. And I was just looking on the market to see what kind of electric bakkies or hybrid bakkies is available to the public. And I've narrowed it down to 3 interesting ones, so I just quickly want to discuss. So 2 of them are, one is definitely already in South Africa, the other one will be launched soon, and obviously Hilux is coming next year. We don't know yet if it will be available to the public or it will just be like demo models to start off with. But yeah, Hilux next year, we're looking at a battery electric vehicle. It will have 2 electric motors, 1 on each axle, so it will be 4x4 all-wheel drive with no mechanical link between the axles actually. They claim 144 kilowatt, and they state that it can do around just over 240 kilometers on a single charge, which is not a lot if you compare it to a diesel GD6 2.8. It can probably do around 800 kilometers, 800 kilometers on a tank. So it will be interesting to see what is the take-up of that vehicle in South Africa, but it's a fully electric Hilux. The price has not been shown yet, so we don't know yet what it will cost. But if we compare it to other electric bakkies out there, I'm sure we all seen the BYD Shark 6 on the roads. That's that electric BYD. That is a plug-in hybrid bakkie. It made quite a bit of headlines when it was launched because it's got a total power output of 321 kilowatts. And that's because it's got dual electric motors, 1 on each axle, but it's also got a turbo petrol engine as well. So if you combine all those power outputs, you get 321 kilowatts, so 0 to 100 time in 5.7 seconds, which is very quick for a bakkie, even quicker than the Ford Ranger Raptor. That was sort of the king of the 0 to 100 times in bakkies. They claim also that you can do an all-electric range on this BYD Shark of 85 kilometers. So you can go 85 kilometers before the petrol engine will need to switch on. And what is interesting is there's also no physical shaft between the engine and the rear axle. There's only a battery pack in between that. And what happens is the engine can drive the wheels, but only the front wheels, and only if you drive over 70 kilometers per hour. Then there's a clutch that engages, and it will send power to the front wheels. And you can imagine they worked it out. That's probably the most efficient if you go on the motorway to use the engine as a direct drive and not just as a generator to generate electricity. Because remember, if you generate electricity, there's a loss, efficiency loss to generate electricity, then it goes to the battery, and then obviously it goes to the electric motors. But if you connect it directly like motorway driving, then there's only the mechanical losses of the powertrain to the wheel. So in that scenario, it's probably better than just to connect the petrol engine if you go on a long journey to the wheels, 1 gear from 70 kilometers per hour. So that's the BYD Shark. Quite an interesting technological vehicle that's available. But then the last one I just want to quickly discuss is the Shangan Hunter REEV. Now that stands for Range Extended Electric Vehicle. So that is also got a petrol engine. Sorry, it's a 1.5 petrol engine, the BYD Shark, just correct myself there, but a 2-liter turbo petrol engine in this Hunter. And that is purely a generator. So it just generates electricity that will go to, again, the 2 electric motors, 1 per axle. They state 200 kilowatts, and they state 0 to 100 in 8 seconds. And they state that it can go up to combined range with petrol and electric up to 1,000 kilometers of range, which is quite good. They say 145 kilometers all electric range. So yeah, we're sitting in a country now next year where you can choose between hybrid bakkies and electric bakkie, which who would have thought in South Africa you'll hear about electric and hybrid bakkies? That's quite an interesting one.
It definitely is. And I wonder, like what you said, what the pricing is going to look like and also what the uptake is going to look like. But let's see, I'm pretty sure you'll have those that are very confident to say, I'm going in and I want to be the first to have this. But now the lines are open. 011 883 0702, the WhatsApp line 072 702 1702. Your technical car questions for Nicole.
702.
The car feature.
All right, 011 883 0702, the WhatsApp line 072 702 1702. Let's go to some questions. Kabelo from Rudaput says the following. Hi, Nicole. My 2017 Polo Vivo's EPC light comes on when I accelerate hard. The car still drives, but it feels a bit sluggish. What usually causes that light to come on? Ooh, Nicole, what is an EPC light?
Yes, I remember the EPC light, but I remember it's linked to quite a few fault codes. So unfortunately, you can check your handbook as well. That will give you a few that will switch on that light. But you will need a diagnostic tool to tell you exactly what is causing that light, because there's quite a few fault paths that will light that on the instrument cluster. It's almost like we call it a malfunction indicator lamp, the orange one that looks like a little engine. And when that pops up in your car, there's also quite a few faults that will be linked to that, which is also linked to a emission fault or something that will increase the emission output of the vehicle and needs to be fixed. So some of the times you get that fault indicator lamp on, you will be in a limp home sort of mode where it will try to protect the engine from itself if some of the sensors has gone wrong and so on. So, but there's other faults that will not cause any limp home or cause any obvious reaction, but it still doesn't mean you can just continue driving. Better is to get a diagnostic tool, plug it in, tell you exactly what is wrong, and then you can decide to go from there. But it's not one single fault that will lead to that light coming on.
Okay, thank you so much, Kabelo, for your question. Tando says, hi, Relebogile and Nicole. My 2014 Hyundai i20 keeps making a whining sound when I turn the steering wheel. Could it be the power steering pump?
Yes, 100%. So obviously on the steering systems, I can't remember if that model year is just before they actually went all to electric power steering. So in the modern cars, we're all electric, so it uses an electric motor on the steering rack to assist the steering force if you turn left and right. But on the older vehicles, it used to be hydraulic power steering, where it's hydraulic fluid that is actually used to assist you, and you have a hydraulic pump giving you the pressure. And it is possible that if it's still a hydraulic pump, that is causing the noise that you hear if you turn left and right. Obviously, if you're keeping the steering wheel still, it's not doing any work, and then the noise won't be there. So I think it's a good assumption. If it's hydraulic steering, it might be the hydraulic steering pump. If it's electric motors don't usually make that noise. It might be the steering rack itself, but it's definitely something to do with that system.
Okay, we go to the lines. We have Luke in Winchester Hills. Hi, Luke.
Hi there. Hello, Relebogile. Hi, Nicole. Hello,
Hey,
December.
hey. Hello,
Hope you guys are
December.
So I've got a quick question. So we're all really interested in HEVs and BEVs. But the challenge I noticed is that from a charging perspective, there's only 2 DC charging points in like the whole of Johannesburg. And then also if you look at normal AC charging points, there seem to be very few dispersed. So I think that's a real challenge that will need to be overcome. And I don't see any of the OEMs doing anything to establish better charging networks in Gauteng specifically. Maybe you can provide some comments on that, please.
Yeah, so if we look at charging infrastructure in South Africa, I think it's actually moving forward. There's obviously companies like Grid Cars that is looking at expanding the charging network, and you see a lot of chargers these days at malls and public areas and so on. I think the problem we sit with electric vehicles is the battery sizes. So some of these high-end electric vehicles have got very large batteries, and we talk about 90 kilowatt hours and so on. Some of these hybrid vehicles, the battery sizes is not that great. So on the bakkies we talked about, for example, the BYD and that Shanghai, they're both close to 30 kilowatt hour battery packs. Now, if you work it out, AC charging, alternating current charging is what you can do at your home. You've got alternating current is the normal grid that the house runs at. So a normal socket at home can give you around 3 kilowatts. This is a rule of thumb. It's not exactly that, but let's call it 3 kilowatts. So if you got a 30 kilowatt hour pack, it will charge in 10 hours. It was completely depleted. But remember, you will never park the car with completely depleted battery. So 8 hours on that kind of battery size is enough to normally get it up to 100%. So plug-in hybrid car is normally fine. But when you get to these electric vehicles, I see the Hilux that we talked about, that's a 60 kilowatt hour. I know some of these e-trons and all those type of performance electric cars, they're like 90 kilowatt hours. So then you talk about 30 hours of charging, which will not then be able to happen at home. And then you have to go to your charging stations, and there they talk about the DC, direct current charging. You'll see it's a different plug as well that you used to plug into your vehicle. And for a long time in South Africa, the maximum that you can get was 50 kilowatts. So again, if it's a 30 kilowatt hour pack, I mean, that will take you 20 minutes or so, or just over half an hour, to charge. But for your larger battery packs, like almost 100, it's almost like 2 hours to charge, or an hour to charge at a 50 kilowatt station. Now, they're moving on to 100. I've seen in Europe, you get 200 kilowatt chargers. So it's, the power is increasing, but I think the problem we're sitting with is the large battery packs that will take a lot of power to get charged, and you can't really charge them at home with a 3 kilowatt charging because it's going to take forever. There's another option where they sometimes fit a home charging station at your house if you've got 3-phase power, and then you can sort of charge at 7 kilowatts in that region. So then it's at least that would help. But for electric cars to be more popular, we'll have to increase the charging station grid in South Africa. But I think for now, the hybrid systems make a lot of sense, because when you run out of electric power, there's always the petrol power that you'll fall back onto that. And with your plug-in hybrids, when you can charge, and you've got your sort of free range of all electric driving where it's very efficient before the petrol engine kicks on. So obviously still the plug-in charging is the most efficient charging. If you have to use the petrol engine to charge the battery pack, that's not so efficient. But yeah, that's where we are with electric vehicles currently.
Thank you so much, Luke, for that question. We have a voice note on 072 702 1702.
Hi, Lebo. I want to ask, what is the story about the white belt of Ford EcoSport 1 liter? A lot has been said. Some people say it must be changed at 150 kilometers. I went to Ford last time, they told me about 210 or 240 somewhere. What is the right time of changing that belt, and is it as bad as some reviews are saying?
Yes, so that's quite an interesting question. What they're talking about is a wet belt arrangement. So if we look at an internal combustion engine, it's either got a cam belt or a cam chain. Now, a cam belt was like the rubbery type. It's not really all rubber, but it's a belt that connects your valve train with a crankshaft. And you will see if you've got a vehicle with a cam belt, you will have cam belt changing intervals, which might be 3 years, 90,000 kilometers, or you'll see the changing interval. With a cam chain, you never had a changing interval. That's sort of the life of the vehicle. And then some manufacturers have decided, no, what they want to actually still use the belt, but they want it to last the life of the engine, and they want it quiet and smooth running. So it was actually on the wet side of the engine, so where the oil is, where the normal cam belt will sit on the outside and it's a dry belt system. They talk about a wet belt, which is on the inside of the engine. But the problem is, what they found is there is some degrading that happens with that belt over time, because obviously you can imagine the oil gets to 90, 100 degrees Celsius. and then cools down again, and it heats up. So I think it's a very bad environment to try to have a rubber, let's call it a rubber belt arrangement. And what we've seen with the EcoBoost 1 liter engine is sometimes that belt can start to fail, and some of the rubber parts comes off, and it starts to block oil galleries, and then you will get oil starvation on the engine and can fail. And we've heard similar reports on the Rangers as well, with the Ranger buckies, bi-turbo. I think it's especially the one with also got a wet belt arrangement. So we'll have to see in the future if the companies will move away from wet belt, or they're going to use a better materials. But I think from the time being, I think it's not a bad idea if you've got an EcoBoost 1 liter to change that belt maybe at 100,000 kilometers. That's sort of a safety point of view. I know some of the dealerships will take your sump, the bottom of the engine off, and just see how that belt looks like. If there's any wear on the belt, and maybe make a call then. But that's the difference between a wet and a dry belt. And personally, I think the wet belt wasn't a great decision to go that route by the engineers.
Sure. Thank you so much for that question. And then a question from Nick. What does over or under voltage do to EV charging systems?
So over and under voltage, I can only imagine he's talking about the supply voltage to the charging system. But remember, the system is set up in a way that it can deal with a variation of voltages coming in. So obviously, if you're using public charging, they will sometimes state it's a 50 kilowatt charger. You plug in and it will tell you, no, it's not getting the 50 kilowatts. It's maybe getting 41 or something like that. And maybe it's because the voltage isn't high enough. But remember, the battery system, there's a battery control system in each one of these electric vehicles that will take care of the battery. So if there's a spike, should cut it out. There should be a trip switch or a switch that will prevent battery damage. If it's under voltage, it will also deal with that. So I'm not too concerned about supply voltage not being correct, because I think the systems will take care of that. Even in your house voltage, sometimes we state it's like 220 volts, but if you really measure it, it can vary between, say, 218, 225, something like that. But I think that variance is fine. As I say, the battery charging system of the vehicle will take care of those kind of fluctuations.
All right, here's another quick one for you, Nickel. How safe is it to be in an electric car when it's in a bad car accident where the batteries are damaged? I'm assuming the person is imagining these explosions that we see on movies.
Yeah, they always joke that if we had and remember, electric vehicles preceded internal combustion engines, and then they moved to internal combustion engines. We always joke that if we all had battery vehicles and then suddenly said, oh, we're going to move into internal combustion engines, you'll have a fluid in your car that's highly flammable in a tank, and it's under the rear seat. So you're crazy, you can't have a car. We're just used to internal combustion engines and fuel. But remember, the battery packs themselves, they can be very volatile. If they catch a light, there's a lot of energy there. And we've seen all these electric cars burn out. It's not a pretty sight. We've seen even like your laptops and cell phones, if that catches a light, it is a lot of energy going there. But remember, the OEMs need to design these battery packs to also fulfill all the crash criteria. So if you look at all the crash testing that happens, all of that, the worst one is actually the side impact in Europe, where they do like a pole impact on the side of the car, which is normally where the battery packs are held under the floor. So it's designed to resist those kind of impacts and to be in an area in the car which is safe. So I don't think the electric vehicles are any more unsafe than the other vehicles out there. There's a lot of precautions that they do as well. There's some safety switches there. It will disconnect the battery in case of a severe accident. But fire is a problem in a vehicle, and that goes for electric and for internal combustion, for example, petrol vehicles.
Especially because that's just in general, things happen on impact. We're going to have to leave it there, Nicolo, till next time.
Whether it is a CCMA referral, problems with a mechanic, unfair blacklisting, or an uncontested divorce, Clientele Legal offers professional legal services to all South Africans. Our plans are affordable, and you receive up to 745,000 Rand worth of legal services per year. We cover civil, criminal, and labor-related matters. Our nationwide legal teams are standing by to support you 24 hours a day. Plus, All plans include a 5,000 Rand bail benefit. Join today. SMS legal to 48721. That's legal to 48721. Clientele General is an authorized FSP and licensed non-life insurer. T's and C's online. Standard rates apply.
Tip your way to glory in the Hollywood Bets Punters Challenge, the free-to-play horse racing game with daily cash giveaways and massive jackpot prizes. Pick all the winners on the race card and you could win 100,000 Rand. Bet 50 Rand or more on your selections using the Bet Slip feature and you could walk away with 1 million Rand. Visit punterschallenge.com